Hi guys. So we have our Q&A today. Let me just scroll down here to the questions. You might hear some thunder. There's thundery stuff happening outside my little apartment here. It's a day. You like this wind blowing hair? Yeah. Yes. Okay. So here's what we're going to shoot at today, guys. I posted 3 questions. Why experience is necessary to fully healing. This is a biggie. And then handling rejection, and then internalizing that abuse wasn't because of you, your needs, your wants, your feelings, or that you are being too much. Okay. So let's get into the gritty here. Experience is necessary to fully healing because we need to connect to reality and see for ourselves that I'm lovable, that I'm wanted, that I'm worth knowing, I'm worth keeping, I'm worth loving. We need to see it for ourselves. That this is going to show up in a number of different ways. And the first one is how we treat ourselves when old shit shows up. So when the old stuff reveals itself, what are we going to do? How are we going to deal with that? How are we going to respond to it? If I'm coming from my old programming, I'm going to invoke shame, guilt, fear, all that. Now, this isn't to say that if you feel, shame, guilt, fear, fatigue, that there's something wrong with you, because there isn't. A lot of times these emotional reactions are reactions. They're not proactions. See, they're just something that happens in response to the experience we're having in that moment. Okay? It's what we do after we have the reaction that is critical, because this is where we rewrite the program that's running here in our head and in our nervous system. So it's like, oh, I'm having great fear. Guess what? This week I had some big things happen that scared me to death. And my normal reaction to that is to run and hide and freeze. So I'm going to run away, find a cave, and hide. And then that's my freeze. I did the opposite. And I've been cultivating this response for a while. I still had intense fear. I still had anxiety. So I regulated. I did my job. And then I said, how can I solve this problem? How can I get an outcome I really, really want? That's the response. That's the experience I need in order to continue to more fully heal from the trauma of my past. Okay? So the experience is stepping out and seeing that I can do it, seeing that things work, seeing that I have the capability to do it, to overcome my internalized sense of helplessness in this particular area in my life. That's part of experiences healing us. The other part is letting other people come into our lives and love us, letting ourselves love other people, beginning to become deciphering or deliberate in what is lovable. Okay? That's why I posted that list a few days ago, because we know a safe person to love them. We just connect with them. Those are the people we need to invest our time and energy in. They're the ones that we need to have experience with that fully validates our own healing. Because nothing is really real to us if it stays up here. It's got to be experienced out here too. We need both components. That's why experience is necessary for fully healing. It closes the loop. It says, okay, and here I have this new experience, this new point of view, and now I'm going to take it out. Oh, and I'm having different experiences. I'm responding to similar experiences in different ways. I'm getting what I need. That's key, guys. Totally the key. So I am going to check something here. Right. Okay. Because I got one other thing I want to add to it. Okay, that's right where I want it to be. Great. Oh, lost it. So handling rejection. This one we've touched on before, but, some of this has to be a broken record. We've got to hear that we're worth it. We've got to hear that we're lovable. We've got to hear that rejection doesn't define our value. Rejection is how, well, it defines our fit, our compatibility. It defines our opportunity in the situation. It has nothing to do with our worth. It has everything to do with the circumstance. When we start understanding and start internalizing or accepting that things are actually about situations and not about our value, we're able to navigate them in a way that's more empowering to us, that puts us in a place of encouragement and love and understanding. See, your value was never on the table, not from the beginning. It doesn't matter if your parents, your caregivers, all of that, your significant others, your past failed relationships, whatever it might be, none of that defined your value. You were taught that it did, but that doesn't mean it is. Because there's a funny thing here, and I'll paint the picture for you. You've been rejected and you got past it. You've rejected things and you got past that too. You have been through things that were intense and scary and painful, but they didn't traumatize you. And yet there's these other moments that really stick. This is important. This is what I'm getting at. Those moments that really stick, they only stick because we think they meant something. See, trauma, one, is biological, it's stuck in the nervous system, so the body's in freeze, and we're going to thaw that. But up here in the head, part of what's going on is we think that trauma meant something, and that meaning keeps the trauma stuck. Okay? And so discharging the energy from the meaning and disconnecting the meaning from the event allows us to completely heal. Okay? This is why, and it goes to the third item here on today's Q&A, internalizing that abuse wasn't because of who you are, what your needs or wants, or your feelings are. It taps into that because when we realize that I know here a lot of us are going to get it, right? We get it here in our head. Here, in our heart, when we realize that that person's behavior was truly about them, then we can deal with the real emotion that tends to show up here, which is an overwhelming amount of grief and heartbreak, because we realize there's nothing we could have done to change it. There's nothing we could have done to get that relationship to work right. And so now we have to experience the finality of the death of what we thought that relationship was or should have been. This is really, really important. Healing often is about grieving what we thought we had and coming to terms with what we did have, while disconnecting from the story that it means anything about our worth. Our worth is sacred. It cannot be impugned against, but we are the caretakers of it. We're the ones who determine it. We are in full ownership at all times about our sense of worth. If we're willing to really heal, really step out of codependency, really go deep on loving ourselves, then we must take 100% ownership of our worth, regardless of the point in time in which that worth was injured. Like, I've had to go back and reclaim my worth from my womb. You know, that was an interesting journey. Reclaim it from my 3-year-old, from my 7-year-old, from the 8-year-old, from the 12-year-old. And say, you know, these did not define us. We define us. And we will now take on this scary and exhilarating experience of defining ourselves, while in tandem letting people love us and letting us love others, especially those safe people. So that's the key, guys. We're going to get serious about healing codependency, about healing the love wound, about overcoming the toxicity we've internalized, to give up trying to earn love and be better and get healthy so we can have love. You know, fundamentally, we just need to love ourselves and allow others to connect with us and us to connect with them in safe ways. Then we're going to show up anyway. Guess what? You're not too much because you have a lot of feelings. Maybe you have an anxious attachment. So a relationship causes you these big anxieties. Great. Cool. I have that. I can't tell you how many times being in a relationship scared the living crap out of me. but I show up anyway. I give it the opportunity. I'm willing to deal with the parts of me that are still attached to old conclusions and help them nurture through experience, not just through releasing through the closure technique or some other modality, but really by connecting deep in me, going, you know what? This pain matters. I'm not a victim, but I went through something that was pretty painful to me. And I'm also not going to let myself feed myself my own BS about not being worthy or lovable or desirable. I am going to understand, though, why I fear that I might not be those things based on this experience. Now I'm going to bring in the law of inclusiveness, inclusion, where it's like, and I've also been loved, I've also been taken care of. And what I'm really resisting feeling is the heartbreak that the person I wanted didn't want me. That's the key. See, now I can heal deeper in that space. And that takes a little time, depending on its intensity and what we fed ourselves in and other kind of experiences we've attached to it and things like that. But ultimately, my friends, my beautiful, beautiful friends, we're here to thrive, and this is most necessary for us to thrive, is to face our pain, but with love and not alone. That's why we have the group. We can connect with each other, in our electronic means. We can connect with each other through our course means, but then also it's reaching out to people we know and love. We're developing friendships in the offline world, in the material world, where we know and we can see that. So we've got to do all of this in tandem to really support and honor ourselves, to really connect back here, that we are worth it. We're going to have our moments of insecurity. Healing is not about getting rid of something. It's not about fixing something. It's about changing how we handle it so that we can thrive in our lives despite having the feeling. I still have anxiety. I don't have it all the time. I don't have it now. I had it yesterday a bit, but we are here. We are alive. We're vibrant now. Okay? And so we move into the flow, the spectrum of feeling. Okay? That's kind of going on with it here. But that's really the whole point here. That's why we heal the love wound. I mean, the love wound is those three questions. Am I lovable? Somebody want my love? And will somebody love me? Okay? So, otherwise, thank you guys for being here, for participating, for sharing your triumphs. Man, we've seen, we're being badasses. We're out there, we're buying new cars, we're doing big things in relationships, we're facing big things in our lives. We're stepping up, we're stepping out, and we're being courageous. God, be proud of yourselves. These are big things. And even if you don't think that's happening for you, I guarantee you've faced difficult, scary things. And the fact that you even admit that you faced it is a triumph. Now, ask yourself what you'd like to do differently next time, and then let's do that. You don't need to be perfect to be loved. All you need to do is show up and allow it to land. Let it in. Let yourself love you. Let others love you, especially the safe people. Stay away from the harmful people. Okay? Okay, guys, love you. Remember, you're worth knowing, you're worth keeping, and you're worth loving. Talk to you guys next week. Bye-bye.